Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel. November 29th, 2017.
Will there be a government shutdown? Now the Democrats and some establishment Republicans are warning President Trump that if you do not cave and capitulate on amnesty for the DACA recipients, all 3.5 million, not just them, but their families, relatives, then we will shut the government down. So here is exactly what is taking place, my friends. As you know, we're now in the month of December. It is crunch time for Congress on many issues. There is tax reform, which is now hanging by a thread. It is now down to essentially John McCain. 2 Republicans have said they will not vote for it definitively. McCain is hinting that he may be the third and decisive vote against it. There are other issues pending. The big one is they need to pass appropriations bills, a big spending bill. And now, as they've waited till December, crunch time, they've got about a couple weeks before the Christmas recess. Now the Democrats are putting the proverbial gun to President Trump's head. They are saying now that they are willing to filibuster and shut the government down if in the appropriations bill, which is there, the spending bills, it's there to fund the military, fund most departments of the government, that if it does not include a comprehensive, sweeping, massive amnesty for the so-called dreamers, then for them that is a deal breaker, and they are willing to shut the government down. What is even more dangerous for the president is that now you have some establishment Republicans, especially Republicans from Florida, many of them are Latino lawmakers, who say that for them as well, the issue of DACA and the Dreamers is so important that they are willing to shut the government down as well, crossing the aisle with the Democrats, unless Trump caves on DACA. Trump wanted a meeting with Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, Chuck you and the Piranha, to try to hammer out something. At a minimum, he would want some kind of a compromise. In other words, as he put it, I campaigned on a wall, I ran on a wall, and I won my election on a promise to build a wall. And so at a minimum, he would want the Democrats to agree to fully fund the wall, as well as pass the RAISE Act, which would dramatically slash, not just illegal immigration, but obviously legal immigration, and create an immigration system that is based on skills. A more high-skilled economy with people who are ready to assimilate on day one. In other words, they want a merit-based immigration system, not one based on need or tilted towards low-skilled labor and refugees and family reunification, but one based on skills and education. The Democrats have said no dice. They will not fund the wall. They will not support the RAISE Act. They will not give anything to Trump. He must unconditionally capitulate and surrender and sign a full amnesty for DACA, or else they are willing to shut the government down. Listen now to Chuck U. Schumer. Announced yesterday, we didn't show up to meet at the White House with the president because we think he is a destructive force who will not deal the way we want him to deal. Roll it, Brittany.
As I said, there are serious issues in front of us. We don't have time to waste. We don't have games to play. We need to fund the military. We need to protect millions of American pensions, fund scientific research and student loans. We need to rebuild in Texas, Florida, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, and California, and we need to protect the dreamers. If the president reverses course and decides he wants to be a constructive force, working with both sides to forge a bipartisan deal, We're happy to meet with them anytime, anywhere, any place.
In other words, it's my way or the highway. And to show you how serious the Democrats are, listen now to this. House Democratic Caucus Chairman, he is the guy that rounds up all the Democratic votes. Joe Crowley, Democrat from New York, says, look, we want to keep the government open. However, you don't capitulate on DACA. You don't give us the full amnesty that we want with nothing in return, because you're never going to get that wall. Then I'm telling you right now, we will shut this government down. Roll it, Brittany.
Democrats are willing to work to secure the future of the 800,000 plus individuals who are dreamers who are in the DACA program. Democrats are working to ensure the extension of the CHIP program that will provide health insurance for children throughout our country, almost 10 million children throughout our country. Democrats are going to work towards keeping government open, and we think we can walk and chew gum at the same time. These are all legitimate and good issues that need to be addressed, and we stand ready to work with our Republican colleagues, and hopefully the president will agree with whatever the Democrats do.
That's not quite what I asked. Are you willing to shut down the government over it? I mean, GOP Congressman Curbelo said he's willing to shut down the government over it. This is a Republican.
This is a critical issue for Democrats, and I think for some Republicans as well. We believe that we can find common ground here as it pertains to the Dreamers and the DACA recipients. Their lives are incredibly important to the Democratic caucus, and their future is important as well. We pledge to continue to work to keep them here in the United States as productive individuals for our country.
Shut it down. You want my honest response? If I'm the president, shut it down. Call their bluff. In other words, what they're telling, I want you to listen now, because now the rubber hits the road. What they are now telling, not just the president, but they are telling all of you, the American people, okay? They're telling the voters. They're telling you that the lives of the so-called dreamers, of illegal immigrant children, by the way, many of them now in their 20s, some of them even as old as 35. How 35 is a child is beyond me, but let that go. That their interests, their lives, their value is higher than yours. That's what they're saying. I'm listening to this debate, and I'm like, look, first of all, if you want to vote on DACA and whether you should give amnesty to the dreamers, to the recipients of DACA, then have a vote on DACA. What does this have to do with the budget? Since when does giving amnesty, and it's not 800,000, that's a lie, because in the bill itself, there are provisions made for their parents, family members, of course, family members back in the old country. So it's going to be about 3 to 3.5 million. Now, we can't afford it. It is going to bankrupt this country. They're going to be eligible right away. They're going to be given full green card status. Eventually, within a couple years, the right to vote. They'll be eligible for welfare, free health care, free education, food stamps. I mean, you name it. So, we can't afford it, but the Democrats want it because it's cheap votes, and the Republicans want it because it's cheap labor. Okay? But let that go. What does this have to do with the budget? This is an immigration issue. This is a law and order, legal, law enforcement issue. That's what this is. What does this have to do with funding the Department of Agriculture, funding, the Treasury Department, funding our government agencies, funding all the appropriations bills, funding our military, funding our defense? What does this have to do with any of this? You've injected a poison pill to try to use it as leverage to blackmail the president because you think that you can win a public relations battle if the government does shut down by using the children. They're going to parade little kids. That's what they're going to do in front of the cameras and say, how dare you send this poor little Guatemalan child back to the old country. That's what this is all about. It's a cheap PR stunt. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, first of all, this has nothing to do with the budget. Zero. That's point number one. Point number two, I think on this one again, Trump is dead on. Did he not run on the wall? Did he not campaign on the wall? Was it not a central seminal promise of his entire campaign and the basis of his election victory? There were other issues, yes, but this one was a key one. So that's his mandate. So when he says, hey, look, I want my wall, you're not even willing to deal on that? Or better yet, I will not just want the wall, I want a new immigration system that will finally put the interests of America first, where we're going to bring in the best from around the world and not have this ridiculous chain migration and family reunification where we're deliberately bringing in low-educated, low-skilled people who are flooding our country. So you won't even compromise on that? It's basically my way or the highway? Shut it down. Shut it down. And if I'm the president, I would come out and say, number one, I campaigned on the wall. Where's my wall? And number two, this has nothing to do with the budget. So as we're now heading towards a possible military crisis with North Korea, as we now have multiple wars that we're still fighting in Afghanistan, for example, around the world, as the economy now is really starting to get into full recovery, as we have all of these serious crises facing us right at Christmas time, they want to shut the entire government down over illegal immigrants who came here as children by their parents, who were brought here as children by their parents? Are you kidding me? If I'm the president, shut it down and say, look at the obstructionism that I face. Look at this nihilism that I face. These are basically political suicide bombers. Because you see, in the end, this is about, for the Democratic Party, this is their base. This is about ensuring their future political electoral dominance, and they know it. And that's why they're willing to go to the mat for these dreamers. But notice, when it comes to defending you, protecting you, where are they on Obamacare? Where are they on taxes? Where are they on border security? Notice when it comes to defending the interests of hardworking, tax-paying, middle working class Americans, they're never willing to shut down the government. Whoa, then you got to wait for your tax cut, baby. Whoa, you'll never get that wall. Hey, your health costs are soaring? Blank you. But if you're an illegal and you're a guaranteed Democratic voter and you're going to be on welfare, buddy, they're going to shut the government down. Hell, they'll burn Washington, D.C. to the ground if they have to. President Trump should call their bluff and say, you want to deal on the budget? I'm ready to deal. But I'm not going to hold the country hostage to the recipients of DACA. Let the Democrats make the move. He calls their bluff. The government shuts down, and my bet, the American public will see through Chuck Schumer, see through Nancy Pelosi, see through the phony Republicans and the rhinos up on Capitol Hill, and Trump's numbers are going to pop big. 617-266-6868. Will there be a government shutdown? Should Trump compromise? Or should he say, you want to shut it down? Shut it down. Is amnesty for the dreamers worth the price of a government shutdown? And who do you think will win? And who do you think will lose? 617-266-6868. Your calls next. Okay, we may be heading towards a government shutdown. Jim on 93. Go ahead, Jim. Hello, Jim.
Hi, Jeff. How you doing, Dave?
I'm good. How are you, Jim?
Hey, working my tail off. You know, I got to pay. Somebody's got to pay for these illegals. Honest to God, really, Jeff, I agree with you 1,000,000%. Shut that baby down twice, honestly. I mean, what good does the government do anyway? You know, except spout rules and laws and try to dictate to me how to live my life.
Jim, do you think if there was a government shutdown, who do you think would get the blame? The Democrats or Trump?
The Democrats are going to get the blame, of course.
So you think Trump will emerge as a winner on this?
Huh?
You think Trump will emerge as a winner on this?
Oh, absolutely. Because there's only so long you can stay out of work and, you know, not collect your freebie. You know? I mean, think about it. You know, they how long can they last? You know what I mean? Honestly. It's like a strike. Go ahead. We'll see how long you can last. Go ahead. Strike some more.
Jim, thank you for that call. I agree with you. I think Trump just has to wait him out. And I think, honestly, I think the Democrats are going to get punished. They're going to get pummeled over this. Tom in New Jersey. Go ahead, Tom.
Hey, Jeff, God bless you in red, white, and blue to you, buddy.
Thank you so much. What's on your mind, my friend?
You're welcome. Hey, Jeff, you know, let's shut the government down because this would be a great time to get a trial run on balancing the budget. If you get rid of a lot of those non-essential services, maybe we could actually balance the budget. So let's go for it. Take the power away from them, President Trump. Shut that baby down. Also, Jeff, for tax reform, let's get a checkbox for fund the wall. If we get 50 million taxpayers to kick in $100, I think that comes to $5 billion. Let's build it ourselves, baby. And Jeff, my last point is, you know, I was never big on blaming Bush, but I think I will blame Bush now that I get older and wiser. I know we're interrupting Georgie from his painting. He's a great artist now. He's doing Picassos in his basement. Hey, Georgie, what were you doing when it was time to get rid of the psycho in North Korea? You had 8 years to do it. Maybe you could tell the American people what you did during that time. What do you think, Jeff?
Tom, look, I'm with you. I blame Bill Clinton, I blame George W. Bush, and I blame Barack Hussein Obama. All three of them, I think, have really shafted us. And not just on this issue, many issues, but let's just keep it to North Korea for a second. I think they've screwed us. I think they've screwed the people of North Korea, the people of South Korea, the people of Japan, and now it's a reckoning. And what I find even more despicable is that the liberal media is openly cheering on Kim Jong-un. In fact, I heard one of these analysts on, I think, Fox News a couple nights ago, saying if there is a war between us and North Korea, he doesn't blame the rocket man. He doesn't blame the mad midget. He blames Trump. So you have the left now openly committing treason, backing a murderous communist dictator who slaughters and starves his own people against the President of the United States. And all he's trying to do is deal with the mess that was handed to him first from Clinton, then W, and then the dear leader. It's sickening. And as this is going on, as if we don't have enough problems, the Democrats now are looking to stab him in the back and shut the government down, thinking they can cut the legs out from underneath him. If I'm the president, stay strong, hang tough. You can break the mad midget, and you can break Chuck U. Schumer. Aaron, you're up next. Thanks for holding, and welcome.
Good afternoon, Jeff. Thanks for taking my call, brother.
My pleasure, Aaron.
Hey, real quick, if we want to save on our use in plastic, we might want to start with Pelosi's face. I mean, how many recycled plastic bags do you think it took to make those sheets? Anyway.
Oh, touche!
And I'll tell you what, it never gets old making fun of her. Anyway, shut the government down. I can't think of anything that Congress has accomplished since January anyway. I really haven't. I really can't. And two, Trump over his whole thing is if you punch me in the face, I'm going to punch you twice as hard back. And I see him go after people like Goodell. I see him go after LeVar Ball. It's time he goes after Congress. It's time he goes after the people where it really matters, the people who are really trying to undermine him. And my last thing is a question, actually. My history isn't that good, but Didn't the government shut down during Reagan at least once, and didn't it work out?
Yeah, no, we've had, honestly, Aaron, you're completely right. We've had numerous government shutdowns. The country keeps functioning. And, but your second point to me is, as usual, brilliant. And thank you for that call, Aaron. The second point is brilliant, and I'll tell you why. Because if I were Trump, this would be a golden opportunity to turn around and say, look at this do-nothing obstructionist Congress. They can't even pass a freaking budget. They try to do everything possible to tie my hands, politicize every issue. In other words, I would just turn Congress into a massive scapegoat. And I would hammer them relentlessly, saying you guys do nothing all year, and I ask for a simple budget, and you guys can't even deliver that. In other words, he can almost do a form of jiu-jitsu where he flips it on Congress and says everything that's been failing in this country, lay it at the feet of Congress. They haven't given me my wall. They haven't given me repeal of Obamacare. They haven't given me tax cuts. They haven't given me anything. And now they're shutting the government down? He could kill him. Russ in Boston. Thanks for holding. Go ahead, Russ.
Jeff, since I've been on hold, you put about 4 subjects on the table.
Russ, you're such a valued caller. Take your pick. Literally, take your pick.
Listen, no, I want to comment on about 3 of them. First, we'll start with the plastic bags. Listen, one of the things that they won't tell you, first of all, this is pushed by the American left, the environment Nazis. But the thing that they won't tell you, because I read a study that came out a few years ago, that 85% of the people that use reusable bags don't wash them. So they're contaminated. They force merchants to handle people's dirty, filthy bags. And what they need to do every time they pass one of these, they must pass an ordinance forcing people to wash those reusable bags. The next issue, Matt Lauer, okay? And I'll say it in a song. And another one's gone, and another one's gone, and another pig bites the dust. Now, on North Korea, Jeff, unfortunately, the last 3 presidents have made a mess out of the situation in North Korea. We should have pressed China years ago economically to take care of this problem. Now, what it's looking like is China is not going to take care of this problem. Okay. Now, you mentioned the surgical strike. As soon as you go after the little midget, he's going to give orders to all his generals to fully launch everything that they have, because he wants to go down in a blaze of glory. So the only way now, if China doesn't take care of this problem, which they can if they want, all right, then we have no other choice. And the choice to me is hit them with everything that we have all at once and put them out of business. And remember, every week when we go to church, okay, what do we sing? Peace on earth to people of goodwill. Well, you know, every time we sing that, I turn around and I say, well, what are the people of bad will? Now, as far as I'm concerned, the people of bad will, what we need to do every now and then is we got to put them on the expressway to hell.
Russ, thank you for that call, buddy. I appreciate it. I'll tell you this. When the mad midget finally meets his end, I guarantee it, he is going straight to hell. Okay, coming up next. Now liberals want to take guns away, listen to this, from those who use marijuana. Unbelievable development. We'll have that. But first, as you know, Matt Lauer and Garrison Taylor have been fired over sexual harassment allegations. Evan Heidenrich will update us now on these breaking stories. Take it away, Evan. 2:36 here on the great WRKO. Okay, before I get to the Wedico Gift-a-thon, the Kuhner Country poll question of the day, sponsored by Bill Kelly Financial Services. Should we ban plastic bags? Boston City Council has just voted to ban plastic bags at grocery stores, big retail stores. It's now going on in Somerville, Cambridge, Brookline. Should we ban plastic bags? If you believe the answer is yes, text the letter A to 680-680. If you believe the answer is no, text the letter B to 680-680. As always, you can vote online at WRKO.com. Brittany, what are the poll results thus far?
83% no, 17% yes.
I take it you're a no.
Oh, God, no. I can't stand going to Whole Foods. And then you come out of the store and the paper bag rips to the bottom and there goes all of your groceries underneath your car and everything. I can't stand it. I like Whole Foods, but I just can't stand they use the paper bags.
I love plastic. I
agree with you.
I love plastic bags. I don't care if it's low density, high density, whatever density.
Right.
I love plastic.
Right.
Okay. My friends, you can really play Santa Claus this year. You can put a smile, literally put a smile, on a poor child's face. WRKO's Gift-a-thon to benefit Wadiko Children's Services. We do this every year. It's an annual tradition. You go to WRKO.com/gift to purchase a gift. You can see all the different children's wish lists. It is sponsored by My Pillow, the most comfortable pillow you'll ever sleep on. Call now, 1-800-972-2316, or go to mypillow.com and enter code word WRKO. And today's profile, honestly, all of these kids, if I had the money, I'm telling you, I would sponsor the gifts for all these kids. I often will meet with these kids, not every year, but on most years, where we give out the gifts to them personally. And it breaks your heart when you see them. This kind of poverty in America. They truly are underprivileged. They come from low-income backgrounds, usually from single-parent homes. They really do not have very much. They have very little. And for them, a little toy, a big bag of chips, or a big bag of popcorn is all they want for Christmas. That's how little they have. Well, this student is Noah. Noah is 9 years of age. He lives with his foster mom and his foster sister. He is so grateful to be in a foster home that he says his great interests, his great joys, his hobbies is to play games and simply spend time with his foster mom. He loves to play basketball, and he says his dream is to one day, he hopes, become a basketball player and live with his mom, he says, and take care of his foster mom forever. Please, you can make Noah's Christmas. Go now to WRKO Gift-a-thon to benefit Wadiko. You go to WRKO.com/gift. You can purchase Noah a gift, $5, $10. Believe me, you're going to make Noah's Christmas. And you can also see all the other children and what their wish lists are. So please, if you can, be generous. Okay. Should people who use marijuana, whether for medicinal purposes or for recreational purposes, should they no longer be allowed to own a handgun or a firearm? This is now the latest progressive cause du jour of the day. And I think now the game plan for the legalized pot movement is starting now to become pretty apparent. It seems what the liberals have always wanted is to eventually use legalization of marijuana or pot to ultimately use it as a backdoor to take away people's Second Amendment rights and their ability to own a gun or a firearm. Now, before I even get into this story, you know my position on marijuana and on the legalization of marijuana and of drugs. I am a constitutionalist. I am a small f federalist. I am a libertarian fundamentally, a conservative. I believe in states' rights, and I believe in referendums. I personally don't smoke pot. I've never smoked drugs. I've never used drugs. I've never smoked pot in my life. I would vote against the legalization of marijuana in a referendum. However, I respect the ballot, I respect states' rights, and I respect the will of the people. I'm not a liberal. If it doesn't go my way, I don't suddenly use the courts to block or overturn the will of the people. So, for example, here in Massachusetts, we now have legalized marijuana. The vote didn't go my way, no big deal. You revisit it in 5 or 10 years, see if you need to change it, tweak it, keep it, or if it's a disaster, overturn it. Okay? So, I'm a small D Democrat, a small R Republican, and a constitutionalist. Colorado has also legalized marijuana. Washington State. Other states have also, many of them, it's almost 30 now, have legalized marijuana for medicinal purposes. Now in Hawaii, there is a major initiative that is gaining a lot of steam, not just in Hawaii, but among liberals and progressives all across the country. And what Hawaii is now stating is this, that medicinal and recreational marijuana users have now been sent a letter from the Hawaiian police ordering them to quote-unquote voluntarily surrender their firearms, all of their guns, as well as all of their ammunition. And the reason why is they now say that according to federal law, patients who use medical marijuana are not allowed to own a gun. They're saying federal law applies even in states that allow or have legalized medicinal marijuana or even the recreational use of marijuana, i.e., now Massachusetts. And they are using a provision from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, which says this, quote, any person who uses or is addicted to marijuana, regardless of whether his or her state has passed legislation authorizing marijuana use for medicinal purposes, is an unlawful user of or addicted to a controlled substance and is prohibited by federal law from possessing firearms and ammunition. In other words, in plain English, we don't want you using marijuana. It's against federal law. We're going to supersede and circumvent states' rights. We don't care whether you voted for it in California or in Colorado or in Washington or in Hawaii or in Massachusetts. We don't care if it's for medical purposes or for recreational purposes. The federal government trumps states' rights. Blank you, we want your guns. Now, what I find incredible is two things, and then I want to throw it open to you. Number one, you now clearly see what their game plan is. One of the major reasons why they were pushing for the legalization of marijuana was ultimately they were going to use it as a Trojan horse to then bring in massive draconian gun control through the back door. Because how you correlate marijuana use to owning a gun is frankly beyond me. But it's clear now what they're trying to do. They're trying to go after the stoners and essentially say, here's your choice. What do you want? You want the bong or you want your Glock? You want the bong or you want your 38 special? Take your pick. And they're banking that the more marijuana becomes legal, whether for medical or recreational purposes, they feel deep down they're going to be so, whatever you want to call it, enamored of their bong, addicted to marijuana. They so love their marijuana, they love their pot, that they will cling to their pot and relinquish their guns. It's clear now that's the bet that they're willing to make. To me, the second and the ultimate point. Look, you know my position on marijuana. Agree, disagree. But let me just say this, and this needs to be said. The very same people who for years, what have they been saying? There's nothing wrong with marijuana. You can do your, you can go to the workforce. You can work at a job and smoke marijuana. You can raise a family and smoke marijuana. You can be a productive member of society and smoke marijuana. That there's this stigma on the use of weed that is ridiculous, that many people now smoke marijuana recreationally, and they can raise children, they can raise families, they're productive at work. In fact, it's much less dangerous for your health or much less bad for your health than, say, cigarette use. So on and on they have been telling us how great marijuana is. In fact, they celebrate it in Hollywood movies, and that it's no big deal. And that it's like alcohol, in some ways even better than alcohol. How did it suddenly go from marijuana is great, marijuana doesn't affect your performance on the workforce, on your job, with your family, with your kids, operating machinery, driving a car, whatever, marijuana was great, to now all of a sudden, Shazam, you can now no longer be trusted to hold a gun with if you're a marijuana user. So they can trust you to have a job. They can trust you to drive a truck or drive a car. They can trust you to raise your kids. They can trust you to do all sorts of things. But suddenly, whoa. No. You can't own that Glock. Ooh, you're a, quote, addict, or, quote, you're a marijuana user. That's a controlled substance. Whoa, no. No gun for you. Well, I'm sorry. If people can drink and own a gun, if people can smoke cigarettes and own a gun, then people who use marijuana can obviously own a gun. I don't know. What does one have to do with the other? I mean, I don't see the logic here. Whether you use it for medical purposes, say whatever, cancer, pain relief, whatever, you still can operate a gun. You still have the right to defend yourself. If there's a burglar or a murderer or whatever, or somebody who breaks into your house, you have a right to defend yourself. I don't care if you're using it for medical purposes. You use it recreationally on the weekends, whatever. Okay. So how is that different, say, from just using Brittany as an example? Not that she does it. You know, Brittany wants to go out and, I don't know, with friends and have drinks and cocktails on a Friday night or a Saturday night and whatever, has 3 or 4 cocktails, or Jared has a couple of cocktails on the weekend. So they can own a gun even though they're out drinking and going to a pub or a brewery or whatever. But if you're at home minding your own business and getting high, all of a sudden you can't own a gun? Are you freaking kidding me? To me, it is clear. It is clear what the strategy has been from the beginning. They wanted to use marijuana and then introduce it in state after state and then attach gun control to it and basically say, they're going to so love their weed and their bong that they're going to be willing to trade in their guns for the bong. Well, no, I'm sorry. This is America. And I believe in the will of the people. They've spoken. They have voted. It's now legal, say in Massachusetts. It's okay. You can have both the bong and the gun. And you shouldn't have to choose. Agree, disagree. Should people who use marijuana medically or for recreational purposes, should they be denied the right to own a gun or a firearm? 617-266-6868. And if you deny it to them, what about those that drink beer or drink liquor or whiskey or smoke cigarettes? Where does it end? Your calls next. Jay in Boston, you're up next. Go ahead, Jay.
Hey, Kuhner, how we doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you, Jay?
I'm doing all right until I heard what was going on, what you're talking about. I just turned the radio on. So is this like a law that's going to be going in effect, or they would like it to? Because I'll tell you right now, they have nothing to do with each other, and no one should ever have to make that choice. I respect the fact that you haven't tried it. I'm not going to be shy or hide it. I've definitely tried it, and I'll tell you right now, weed is the lesser of two evils when it becomes the choice between alcohol and marijuana. Hands down, because I mean, in the last 10 years, can you think of an instance that you heard that somebody smoked a bowl and beat their family? No, the Indians called it a peace pipe for a reason, because you're pretty peaceful when you're doing it. I'm telling you right now, if you took a cigarette addict person and somebody that smoked weed that doesn't do cigarettes, and you had a gun in front of each of them, and they each needed, hey, you're going to take this gun and commit a crime for your weed, or that person that's addicted to the nicotine is way worse. There's no addiction to marijuana. I don't wake up jonesing it. I actually did it. I've got my medical card for my shoulder, so I can put cream on it because I don't want to be addicted to opioids.
Jay, and please don't drop Jay. Jay, let me be very candid with you, okay? You're making very good points, but you've essentially won that argument in the sense that, look, it's legal now in Massachusetts. We had that debate. I'm not a liberal. I respect the will of the people. It's legal in it's legal in Massachusetts. So you don't have to Jeff, it's better than nicotine. It's better than cigarettes. It doesn't cause as much violence as alcohol. You've won that argument. It's now legal. What I find to me disturbing is I think now the argument they're trying to make is, I'd always do like the Cheech and Chong routine. I just find, hey man, I would mock people who would smoke weed. They're almost now using that caricature, basically saying, Jay, as an example, hey man, I got a gun. Hey man, I want to blow somebody's brains out, man. That's the caricature now that they're making.
Because they're trying to give marijuana a character of, they're trying to basically state that the impairment of marijuana is worse than alcohol, which is definitely not the case.
Okay, that's bingo. And that's my question to you is this. What do you say to the argument? Because this is the argument that you're impaired. When you're smoking weed, right, you're stoned, right, whatever, you're high, okay? Sure. You're impaired. Yeah. So if you have a gun, you can't shoot straight, you can't see straight. What do you say to that argument?
You don't carry. Just like if I'm going to carry, right, which I normally do on a daily basis for work during the day, because look what's going on in the world. I want to have a say in how I go. I don't want to have to kneel on the ground and beg for my life and get blown away just because. So I don't know. It's tough to say, but the thing is you got to treat it just like alcohol. If you're going to carry, you're not supposed to go out and drink and carry at the same time.
Bingo.
You're not supposed to be under the influence.
Bingo.
So why is it any different for weed?
Bingo.
I'm sorry. After 2 or 3 hours of you smoking, you're not stoned anymore. You're done. It's over with. Have a nice time. Go on about your day. But like a lot of these people, a lot of people don't realize there's many types of marijuana. But when it comes to a sativa versus an indica, there's some that are going to give you more of a euphoric, which is more of a head high, and then there's some that are just going to strictly take bodily pain away. It doesn't impair you mentally whatsoever. It's just taking away arthritis pain and whatnot. I mean, it's a joke and a farce to even hear that this is how they're going to, I'll tell you right now, if I had to choose, because they're going to force us to choose, I would totally let my medical card expire so that I can keep my guns. Because I'll tell you right now, they're not going to protect me. They can't. They even know that. And that's why we have a right to carry, so that you can protect yourself.
Jay,
this is a joke.
Phenomenal call. Phenomenal. By the way, Jay, Joe, are you stoned or are you clean and sober right now?
Absolutely clean and sober.
I'm just teasing. I'm just kidding around. Thank you for that call, Jay. Really well done. I was just thinking, my God, if he's stoned, imagine when he's not. The guy's a genius. John in Cape Cod. Go ahead, John.
Thanks, Jay. I just wanted to, Jeff, I should just say that there could be a good side to this. You have to pretty much virtually guarantee that no congressman or senator in California will be allowed to own a firearm. But let that go. Jeff, the scientific fact is that marijuana affects the ability to concentrate, it affects memory. So Massachusetts has now made it legal. So now we have, for instance, say, cooks and chefs preparing food with smoking pot. Now, your child might have a peanut allergy. Someone might have an allergy to gluten or whatever. Some people have very severe allergies. Now they have a reaction. They die. They go to the hospital. They should be taking some of these cooks and be blood tested for the effects of marijuana, because without a doubt, you can Google it, you can look it up. It's scientifically, marijuana affects the memory, affects the power of concentration. So these liberal clowns legalized in Massachusetts are endangering the public because people are in areas, let's say a pharmacist, whatever, that they need the power of concentration with the distributing medicine. Now they have the ability to legally smoke the stuff. I walk down the street to the city of Boston, anywhere you go, you smell it. It just it permeates everywhere you go. So they're claiming that they're protecting people's lives now by
John, I got to go, but basically, would you take away their gun rights? We lost John. Okay, he's got to look. To me, whatever the criticisms are, don't take away their gun rights. They're Americans too. I got to go. Bye bye.
Voice of Boston is you. 680 WRKO Boston, 93.7 WEEI HD2 Lawrence, Boston. It's 3 o'clock.